I was just going to catch you up on the pupils that I'd been working with.
Yeah.
And how they've responded to the solution focus so far. So I told you last time, didn't I, that I was working with two girls that were struggling with like school-based anxiety.
Yeah.
And one of them, we had a meeting the other day, and all the teachers involved with her were saying how much she's changed and how she's turning all these negatives to a positive.
Really?
And I was like, oh, that's because we're doing the solution focused, and that's her best hope. And they were like, really? And I was like, yeah. And she's only had 2 sessions, and
Right.
she's really thinking about it all the time.
Right.
And her attendance is 100%, whereas last year it was around 40%.
How much?
It was 40% last
40?
year.
Wow.
Yeah, so really low. And she's going into every lesson. She started year 10 this year.
Yeah.
Really, really trying because it's GCSE year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been really impressed with her so far. And then another girl I've been working with, meeting we had, which was last Thursday, she just said how positive she felt, and she was like, I don't think, we were meeting weekly at one point, and she said, I don't think we need to meet every week anymore.
Right, terrific. Yeah, terrific. Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, really
and that's such a different thing, isn't it? When the young person's saying, I think we've done that work.
Yeah.
It? Yeah. Yeah.
Really,
and what have you noticed in her?
So with her, she's dealing with her classes a lot better as well, and she's just more confident to ask the teachers for more help, or she'll come to me and say, I'm struggling in this, can I go outside and breathe for a minute, reset, and then go back in? And she's really using that technique, which is something that we spoke about.
Right.
Whereas before she would have just sat there and she would have let it get to her to the point where she wasn't listening to what was going on in the lesson.
Right.
So that's really helped her progress, especially.
So she's paying attention to herself, isn't she?
Yeah.
About what she needs, and then speaking up for herself.
Yeah, and her issue is that she's always done really well in school and really enjoyed school, but she's just started having a bit of anxiety that she's concentrating on more than she is the content of what's in the lesson. And there was a few lessons she said that was happening in, so like maths and Spanish. And she said she's really, really, really getting on with it now.
Right.
And much more content. And even her maths teacher said so as well.
Right. And is she the one you're saying she thinks she doesn't need so many meetings now?
Yeah.
Yes, that's terrific, isn't it? So what are you doing about that? Are you still going to meet, or meet not often, or?
Yeah, we're still going to meet because she's got some like friendship issues. So we're going to meet every 2 weeks now, and then we'll push it to every 3 weeks, and then just see how she goes. But yeah, the both of them have been really positive, which has been good to see.
Right. So now I'm going to ask you a question. So what is it about you? You know, what are you doing that's helping this to go well?
I think it's the structure of those coaching sessions. So when I've been doing it, I've been writing out on the page for it, like questions that I'm going to ask to lead. So I've been really structuring it out. And I think because I've been so positive about the layout of the meeting, that's really impacted them as well to be positive. And both of them have fed back to me that they really enjoy how it's structured.
Really?
Yeah. And like at first when you say, right, I'm going to give you a compliment now, and you compliment them, and then you say, right, now I want you to compliment yourself.
Yeah.
At first you're both like, oh, we don't know what to say. And then the second time they both just went for it.
Yes. It's so interesting, isn't it? That's all the first time, because they've never been asked to do that before, have they? At least in school, they've never been asked to do that before. So it comes completely out of the blue, isn't it? Like, oh, what kind of question is that? But the second time, they obviously that's part of what we do. So the next time you say a compliment, then they'll stand forward and do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to see that actually, because they're both quite timid. So to give themselves a compliment is a massive thing.
It is huge. I think it's a huge thing. Yeah. Isn't it? That they can actually look at themselves and say, yeah, you've done all right there. Yeah.
And they've both done so well with it. So yeah, I'm really impressed so far.
Right. And what's it doing for you in your professional work, would you say?
I think with us now, it's obviously it's helping me a lot more. I feel like with my meetings with the pupils, I'm getting way more progress than I was before, and at the same time, I feel like I'm not taking as much on in terms of like their problems, if that makes sense.
Yes,
So they're
yes,
solving themselves.
yes.
Uh, so I think that's really helped me.
Right,
And then in school, we're going to start rolling out because we've got quite a lot of staff members now trained in it.
right.
Um, so our next aim is to start using the solution focused language around school. So, for example, one thing we want to trial is when we have restorative conversations with pupils when they're in detention after school, instead of making it a negative conversation, me and Ben were saying it would be really good if they were saying like, "All right, what's your best hope going forward now with geography, and how do we get there?" And then talking that positive talk with them.